All right, folks, what is going on? This is episode 744 of the First and Frame Rate Show. I am Via Baller. Over here, we talk about Georgia Southern and Atlanta Falcons football. And we're going to talk some Georgia Southern today. Coach Clay Helton back on the recruiting trail. Now, this is one thing I love about Coach Clay Helton. He is not afraid to get out there and show his face to the state of Georgia. Last year, we talked about he touched every county in the state of Georgia as far as looking at high schools. He went all over to find talent for Georgia Southern. And for the most part, the recruiting classes have been pretty good. I mean, I have no complaints about what they put together. My biggest issue has been the quarterback, but that's don't want to touch on that today. But what I want to say is I love what he does in the off season. And, for the most part, getting these guys, as far as the staff out there to go to schools and talk to the coaches and get these kids prepared for the upcoming season, even though the offseason just ended for, football, high school, and even college football. He's back out there, and you gotta love it. You love it, and I love every bit of it. So we're going to talk about that and give my thoughts and opinions. So if this is your first time here, welcome. I could be found on Spotify and Apple, also on Google Podcasts, YouTube Podcasts. Google Podcasts will be dropping off at the end of March. In April 2024, Google Podcasts will turn into the YouTube podcast. As far as if you want to watch the visuals of this show, the show is on Rumble, so the link is down in the description. If you're not watching this on Rumble, you can watch the visual podcast of this show. And I can be found on X or Twitter at VF Baller. The website is firstandframerates.com. And I cannot thank you guys enough. Thank you guys for the outpouring support of the show. The show is looking really good on Rumble. People are actually tuning in over there, and it's great. Now, as far as YouTube goes, like I said, the podcast will be on YouTube under the podcast section if you want to listen to it. If you want to donate or support the show, PayPal and Cash App links are below, and that would be much, much appreciated. All right, let's get right into this. Coach Clay Helton went to Benedict, Benedict High School, and that's a school down there in Savannah, Georgia. One of the schools that I've always been somewhat envious of. I am a Groves High School graduate, and I remember back in the day when Benedict was like the school that people wanted to go to, and the Benedict Military School, and as of right now, the football program is looking pretty good. We had a couple of guys that came out of Benedict that actually done well for themselves coming through that program, and it is really awesome. So he's been at Benedict. We also have another coach, offensive line coach, Zach Langford. He's been to Jenkins High School, another high school that is in Savannah, Georgia, another school that has been on the rise as far as high school football. A couple of good names that have come out of there as well. I have a few of my friends have graduated from Jenkins High School. Some of my close friends have graduated from Jenkins, and it's been one of those schools that actually been, like I said, on the rise when it comes to Savannah, Georgia high schools, because at one point it was all about beach and Savannah High, and Jenkins is coming up and making a name for themselves. So that's really cool to see. And last but not least, we went to Warner Robins. Coach Applin has made his presence felt down there in Applin. Coach Applin went to Warner Robins, Georgia, and went to go see what is it? Oh goodness, I can't remember the high school. I'm trying to look it up right now. I want to apologize. I can't find it. But he went to a school in Warner Robins to talk to some of the kids there as well. So they're going all over the place, and it's really cool to see. Oh, there it is, Northside football in Warner Robins Warner Robins, Georgia. He went there as well, and it's good to really see that we're continuing to make things happen. Going to these schools, letting our faces be seen, letting the brand be known, knowing that we want to look at your talent at these high schools and actually possibly recruiting some of these guys. In the state of Georgia, it is a hotbed down here for talent. You see a lot of guys that go out of state, go to college and all these other places, and it's pretty cool. but you want to try to keep as much, as much talent in house. You want to try to do that, so it's one of the things that you want to, try to get together. So also here's another one from yesterday. Who's this here? Yeah, Coach Brian Ellis. He went to Lamar County High School. So like I said, these guys are just continuously going places. I mean, from Barnesville, which is not far from where I am, Barnesville to Warner Robins, all the way back to Savannah. It seems like they're trying to cover all their bases, and it's just the beginning. It's only in January. You got to think about it. Recruiting never stops when it comes to these schools, come to these players. These are guys that are probably going to be on the 2025, 2026, the 2026 recruiting class, even if by some chance Coach Clay Helton is not here, which, to be honest with you, I don't want him to leave no time soon. I want him to be here for at least another 4, 5, 6 years, even though the 6 and 7 seasons are, they rub people the wrong way. But I want to see him build something here. If he continue to do that, with this recruiting class, we should see some good results. I want to see some, bowl games that we can win, some Sun Belt championships. Hopefully we can get those. But this is how it starts. It starts under this type of, this type of commitment. You go out there and you go talk to these guys. You go out there and put your face out there. And, you look at these other colleges out here. For the most part, I don't know what Georgia's doing. I don't know what Kennesaw State is doing. I don't know what Georgia State is doing. But every time I look up, I'm looking on the timeline, and all I see, I don't even know what Georgia Tech's doing. But I look on the timeline and I see, our coaches going to these other schools to look at these kids. And I mean, that's exactly what you want to see. You want to see us go out there and make things happen when it comes to, when it comes to recruiting and bringing kids in and having things together. And that it's just a beautiful thing when you have these guys go out and try to make a difference. It just says a lot. Even if a kid don't necessarily commit, they always have that remembrance of their coach coming to the school, talking to them, letting you know what type of, program you're trying to build in Statesboro. And last but not least, it's not far from home for a lot of these kids. You see a lot of kids in the transfer portal. They end up going to a college that's close to home. Shout out to to TJ Smith. He decided to stay. Talked about him in the last episode. But he doesn't live too far. You saw the JD Kings of the world come back here from Oklahoma State. You see a lot of guys that are close to home that want to come in and play ball and make things happen. Jalen Barton was another one. Barton was another one. Anthony Queeley was another one. I mean, these are guys that are, that are here, that came here because it's not too far from where they live. And at the end of the day, a location means a lot. Location means a lot. And I know Coach Clay Helton has been going to the North Carolina area, which that's starting to become a pipeline. Some places in South Carolina, and you start looking into Alabama, some parts of Florida. It looks like that those 4 states are, a hotbed for Georgia Southern. But it all starts at home. It all starts in the middle, where everything is, from Statesboro out to the other 159 counties that are in Georgia. I think it's still 159. But it all been, it all goes through there. So if you can recruit in the state of Georgia, you're going to have a pretty good, you're going to have a pretty good, program. Because the thing about it is, there's a lot of hotbed, talent here in the state of Georgia. And this is where it starts. I mean, you look at the last the last recruiting class, you had a pretty good bit of guys from the state of Georgia coming in here. And you want to keep that going. You don't want to see a lot of kids leave out of the state. You want to keep a lot of these kids who are familiar with them, with the area, with, the program, and their family could come see their kid play because it's not too far. It's not like, I think with the Dallas brothers, Josh and David, I think they were going to Central Michigan at one time, but, Coach Clay Helton, I don't know what he did, but he came in and made it happen. And, they're here so their family could come see them. You know what I mean? So, I mean, that's the thing that you would like to see, for a lot of these kids. We got some guys from Macon that just was that committed. You want to keep it in house. And before I get out of here, I will say this. I think this is one of the reasons why you don't see too many kids hit the transfer portal, because even though some of the kids may find better opportunities elsewhere, and that's perfectly fine. But when it's just something different when you find kids that are good, good talented kids that are in the state. You kind of diminish that whole leaving for another school. For the most part, you have these kids that want to be here and stay here because it's close to home, you're close to family, and you still have a chance to make a name for yourself because the Sun Belt Conference is on the rise. So, it's a pretty good look. So shout out to Coach Clay Helton and the staff. Everything hasn't been the best as far as our expectations of the school, or I'm not the school, but of the football program. But as long as they keep doing this, it's going to come. The success is going to come, and they're putting in the work, and it's good to see. So if you like this commentary, hit the like button, share this podcast, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Let me know what you guys think about Coach Clay Helton and company back on the trail, man. They're out there trying to get more recruits to come to the school in-house, in-state, and they keep that up. And then before you know it, man, we're going to have a bunch of Georgia boys out here, making noise throughout the Sun Belt. Really, really awesome. I can be found on YouTube and Rumble, also on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Google Podcasts is turning into YouTube Podcasts. So before, just to give you a heads up, before the month of April, you will have a chance to migrate over there. And the show is on Rumble, so you can listen to it on Rumble. You can watch it on Rumble, and you can listen to it on the YouTube podcast. It's still working out the kinks. So I hope to see you guys on the next one. I really appreciate you guys, and like, share, and subscribe, or follow me on any of these platforms. Follow me on X at VFBaller. And if you want to check out the website, it's firstandframerates.com. And last but not least, if you want to support the show, CashApp and PayPal links, the links that are down below. And I'll see you guys on the next one. You guys enjoy the rest of your day. All right, y'all. I'm out. Peace.